Hello. In the mental map that I have about the Wardley mapping, I have found out that many people want to draw maps, but they do try to do it without understanding how to read a map. To me, read maps is very important, and it's like a kid that it's copying letters and pretends to be writing, but in reality is only copying symbols without understanding what they mean. So try to understand first how to read maps, and then you will be much ready to draw maps. Well, if you are visualizing this video, you probably know this map that represents the 6 characteristics that a map has. This table is the more important table of this content, and it's the glossary of terms. You probably have seen that, and I want to review each one of these symbols using a basic map. The basic map I will use, it will be this one, where I'm representing a user and user need and some capabilities. So let's start. Vertical axis represent value or visibility with respect our anchor, the user. This capability has more visibility to the user than this capability number 2, and is the way to read it. We can also say that it has more value for the user, and it's right too. Dependencies between components. When we link one component with other, we are binding them. So the way to read this, it will be a coffee addict needs his morning coffee. Morning coffee depends on a coffee maker, and it also depends on the ground coffee. Ground coffee depends on coffee grinder and coffee grains. Switch point. How to map changes. This case, I want to highlight that these red dotted lines that we are considering that this component is changing. So the maps represent the maps are the representation of a temporal moment. If we draw the components in black, they are representing the present. If we are drawing the components in red, they are representing the future. With Wardley mapping, we try to visualize and discover the present and to try to anticipate to the future. Here, I am drawing that this component, coffee maker, is evolving, and it can evolve towards a more mature stage, or it can evolve to a more visible or valuable stage. How we map an evolved company. We can have two, this one or this one. So the first one, we have decided that the coffee maker is going to evolve to a future coffee maker that is going to be more evolved in terms of its own stage. It could be that it has a better material, more cheaper material, and other features, that it's provided in a different way, etc., etc., etc. In this second map, I want to represent that in the present we have the coffee maker, but potentially in the future we could have a different type of coffee maker. In this case, an electric coffee maker. Me and the group that are mapping, we have decided that with respect to our anchor, the coffee addict, it has more visibility or value, and this is the reason that I have moved here. In terms of the x-axis, I have moved to the left because the electric coffee, in that moment, it's going to be a less evolved product, that it's in its genesis and that it still needs to demonstrate maturity and validity in the market. How do we highlight the capital flows? We can use the lines of dependency between components to represent capital flows. Mainly, we highlight the main lines. For instance, if we want to explain the main dynamics of behavior of a map. We can also add the amount in terms of currency, in terms of time, in terms of effort, in terms of whatever that we are representing. For instance, if we are representing a map where data is represented, the data transition from one component to other, it could be the flow that is represented on that map. How we indicate the existence of a market? Well, with this symbol. And on this context, I want to represent that between 1980 and 1990 in Spain, ground coffee market grew up considerably. How we indicate the existence of an ecosystem? Well, we can use this symbol that it's covering, in this case, 3 components of the map. We could consider that all around ground coffee as an ecosystem where new type of coffee appear, and there is an inner competition between these the companies providing these capabilities. How we highlight an attempt to alter the map? With this arrow. In this case, we are representing that the ground coffee, we believe that it's going to evolve through here. And we want to act on that, trying to promote certain efficiencies in the collection, distribution of ground coffee that make us to be able to sell that in a more efficient way, decreasing the price and promoting that the competition will have problems to sell their own coffee. So we have decided to make actions to enable that the ground coffee move towards a more mature environment. How we indicate an area of interest? Well, with this symbol. I have covered again these 3 components, and we could consider that all around ground coffee as an area of interest due to proliferation of the industrial ground coffee or whatever, or maybe then we want to do a specific map or sub-map with respect to this area of interest. How we indicate different type of work methods? Well, using these symbols, we will replace the symbol of the regular component of these symbols to indicate that the work is performed around this component using built in-house, using catalog products or outsource method of work. How we show a pipeline? A pipeline, when we represent a component like a pipeline, we have to do it in uppercase. And we want to represent that the given component is in reality present in different stages of the horizontal axis. In this case, I have highlighted that the coffee maker could be in different stages. If we, in reality, many components of a map can be indicated like a pipeline, but we only highlight those that we want to focus the conversation. What happens is that many times we can have different pipelines, and if we fulfill the map with all these type of components, the ability and the clearness of the map is reduced. So we can use this symbol. The meaning is the same, and we have to think when we see this symbol that in reality the component it's covering all this spectrum of the horizontal axis. Here I want to highlight that we can have the user of today as an anchor, and as it indicates the present, well, we have in black and the future in red. We can also do the representation of the user of tomorrow, because we want to think about what are the user needs that a specific sector of population or users is going to need. And in that way, try to anticipate to what is going to happen. To position the components in a map with respect to the horizontal axis, we can use this table of characteristics or this table of general properties, where we talk about one component and reading the properties, we evaluate in which stage is. User needs can be also classified. We have the horizontal axis with the stage of evolution, but we can also draw a line and define different categories for the user needs. And here I finish. Remember, this glossary of terms is very important to be able to draw a Wardley map in the proper way.